Welcome to episode 314 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name is John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators Podcast. We like to talk about games we've recently picked up, games we're currently playing, and we ask, would you kindly stick around for this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge?
So this week we're playing some BioShock on I'm assuming, did you play PS3?
I played the PS4 collection.
Okay, and I did too. Obviously,
Yeah.
nothing super crazy
This
different about
game's
that.
on like everything, though, so we'll get to some of that.
Yeah, it's
We
the
got some
next
prices.
game to be put onto a pregnancy test, right? So we play some BioShock. We'll get to it in our inflation deflation segment. Of course, you can find the Game Deflators on thegamedeflators.com. You can also find us on social media. So at Game Deflators on Twitter, at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and now Blue Sky, actually. So went ahead and got us on there. We're also on YouTube. So if you're watching, thanks. Go ahead and hit the little bell so you know when we're on. Like, subscribe, comment, all of the good stuff that comes with that. And then if you're listening to us, well, thank you again for listening. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment on the podcast application of your choice. Ryan,
5-star reviews.
Lots of 5-star reviews. What are we talking about this week?
So this week I'm sick, so I'm sorry if that comes through at all, but I'm doing my best here. We're going to take a look at how long it's going to take to catch them all on the cheap Pokemon Pocket TCG. And then the Game Awards is right around the corner, and it's got more than just games this year. And then we'll finish up with that inflation deflation on BioShock.
I just realized we don't have like a standard discussion topic that we want to talk about. We could probably just talk Pokemon TCG during that time period. We'll have a little expanded discussion because I've been playing it this week and you've been playing it. We can have a little bit of talk on that, and that'll be a nice lead into that first article.
There we go.
All right, cool. All right, so pickups. I picked up this. I picked up a long box copy of Resident Evil for $30. Yeah, well, actually not $30. It was $22. Is what it came out to. Yeah, I like it too, and it is complete. Has a little manual in there. The case itself had like a little crack going here on the bottom. Super glued it. Can't even tell. And then the actual paper, because this is stuck like glued on here. That old glue is peeling off. So went ahead and on this side I put some super glue underneath that.
Give it a little
squeezed it all.
TLC.
Yep, exactly. Nice and flush on there. And then same for the top. I went ahead and put some super glue in the bottom. Can't even tell I did it. So pretty solid. Definitely excited about that one. So I want to say it's going for like $80 to $100 right now.
Nice.
And my Goodwill happened to have a bunch of video games, and it was interesting because like when I went out there, this dude had picked up a bunch of stuff. I'm like, man, that sucks. Like I missed out, 10 minutes. And I come in like 2 days later, I think it was Monday, and that's sitting on the shelf. I'm like, that's kind of crazy. They just put out new games. Like, what's happening? And the tag said like the 9th. I was in there on the 11th. So whoever that dude was decided, put this back on the shelf. I looked at it. It's got a couple like light top scratches, but nothing that you could see through. So it's not impacted anyway. Very minimal scratches on the actual black part of the disc. So nothing that is not going to be able to get buffed out, basically. And it looked great. Overall condition of it, the manual's nice and crisp, and the outside, like I said, it needed a little bit of super glue underneath that paper, but otherwise perfectly fine. So 20 something bucks, not a bad pickup. And then as far as what I'm currently playing, I don't know why, but everything like reverted on my side. I am still playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart with my wife. And then I am also still playing AM2R. So Ratchet and Clank, we are about 85% through the game. So you can find all of our playthrough stuff on YouTube. And then AM2R, I'm not streaming because, well, not going to stream that. But that one I am, God, I think like I would say 60 to 70% through that game. Like I'm getting there. It's gotten to the point where my power-ups are just allowing me to blaze through different parts of the game with no issue. And then Pokemon TCG Pocket, went ahead and started that up. I think it was Monday or Sunday. I think it was Sunday night. I started playing around with that and into today. So when we do our little discussion topic, we can get into that, and then that'll lead us into that first article. But I'll turn it over to you first.
So picked up a little bit of One Piece cards, just like a few packs, and then was with a friend and picked up a couple new starter decks, the Kid deck and the Sakazuki deck.
How do you like the Kid deck?
They're both pretty cool. The Akainu deck's kind of not there. Like my buddy who works at Gamer Guild, he told me the way they kind of do these decks is they kind of want you to buy 2 of them so that you can get a full play set of all the good cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sakazuki is a black deck, and it works with its effect by like his ability is that you can like tap 3 Dawn and trash a card, and then you can destroy an opponent's character card with 0 cost. So you want to be putting down like characters that have like on play cost reduction, and then use your leader to just delete those characters off the board. And I mean, you could see how it could go together, but it's just like it feels like you're just not getting enough of the pieces in the deck the way that it works. And the Kid deck was just kind of running over it. The Kid deck is a green deck. And it just I don't know a whole lot about the game still. I haven't done like much reading on it. I've just kind of played what we've played and looking up rules and stuff as we go. But I feel like green is also like I've got the green Zoro and Sanji deck. I feel like green is kind of like the like a relentless attacking style kind of deck, because this Kid deck is very much like that. He has like an ability where you can discard a card and tap some Dawn, and then you can untap Kid, so you can like attack with him twice in a turn.
Like that's very much like that character though.
Yeah.
He is like full frontal assault, and you can kind of say the same thing about Zoro and Sanji in a way too. They're not, they're not think
Well, and
first
that's
attack.
a green blue deck, so that's like a little.
Yeah.
And I don't really. I know that they all have like different strengths and stuff. Like I know that the purple deck does a lot of like Dawn manipulation stuff, where it lets you like take your resources and put them back into your resource deck to get an extra effect now, and things like that. So I don't have enough extra cards to really mess around and do too much. Like I can't make a brand new deck out of the stuff that I have. And you kind of get into this position wherever you start to get into like a new card game where it's like, all right, I had these, starter decks. Those are fun. I've gotten some packs and been able to swap out like a card here or a card there for this. But it's like, I don't have enough pieces to make another 50 card deck out of just stuff that I've acquired to like really get experimental. And then you get into the part where, okay, well, really you don't just need a 50 card deck. You need a 50 card deck made up of play sets of these cards that are like the most optimal. And that's where I kind of like lose it with TCGs and stuff. Once you're to the point where it's like you just don't feel, or at least maybe it's a block of my own where it's like I don't even feel like it's worth trying to do, because you got to do it the right way to stand a chance. But that's really only if you're trying to play like competitive in a store or something too.
And that's my downfall, and what I'll talk about a little bit on the Pokemon TCG game when we start discussing it here. Similar feeling to what you're getting.
Yeah. So for the Pokemon TCG, well, I guess I haven't really had a chance to play much this week. I was really planning on like playing a ton of Bug Fables last night and this morning. But I have been sick and I did not sleep good. I've been just like tossing and turning in bed. Usually I'm the kind of guy I'm up at like 6 for no reason every day. It was a rough day, but I'm gonna get to Bug Fables. I will get more recordings and stuff. I got the first one exported to the YouTube. I just need to figure out how to get it from my YouTube to our YouTube. And then we'll go.
There's video downloads that you can like do. There's applications you could download the videos, as far as I know.
I'm sure. Or I mean, it's my video. Like I should be able to do things with it, right?
You would think, but I've never been able to download our videos.
Well,
Yeah,
I might have to figure something out then.
Yeah.
Anyways, Pokemon stuff. I'll go through my stats and things because I've been kind of doing this for a couple weeks already. So I'm up to level 19 now. I have 190 out of the 226 of the set. I got 519 cards in my collection. I've opened 125 booster packs, and I've spent $0. I did run out of my free premium trial period, so I canceled that. If you start the premium trial period, you could just go right back in and like cancel it before it runs out, and it'll still finish out your free 2-week trial. So
I started
definitely
it.
worth doing.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to keep it on. You could just cancel outright. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I went ahead and did the 2-week trial. We'll see. I'm kind of considering throwing down the $10 just to kind of see like what it does with an extra month, because the events are ending
Mhm.
here pretty soon. So I may throw like $10, see how it goes, but I don't want to go down that path either. Um, so I have also spent $0 so far. I've got 432 cards, and I am at 145 out of a 26, and I am level. Tell you in a second, level 16 right
Okay.
now. And then booster pack wise, where do you check that? Do you do it under the missions?
So if you go to your like profile icon at the top of the main page and go
Yeah.
down to the trophies, one of the trophies, I think it's the first one,
Oh,
is like packs opened
I have opened 71. How the hell have you opened
and 25.
125?
I
Yeah.
mean, I've been doing it for weeks longer, and there are certain, so there's like the missions and like the theme collections and things.
Yeah.
Some of those will give you like a big dump of hourglasses. Like
Oh, really? Okay.
there's been a few times where I've been like, I've completed some missions, and then all of a sudden I've got like 100+ hourglasses.
So
So
it's the theme collections, is what you're saying.
yeah, those are some of them. Yeah, so like there's like secret missions too, like the Mew secret mission, and I think some
Hmm.
of those give you some of them as well.
Okay. Good to know.
But
Yeah. Like there's a few things here that I'm missing a few cards here and there to be
mhm.
able to complete like the deck theme essentially. So yeah, interesting. I did create a second account that I have on my tablet. So that one, I'm only like level 4 or 5, but dude, I busted open like a 2 Articuno EX pack the other day. Like,
Have
I was
you
like, what?
noticeably had different like luck on your
Um,
two accounts? Like my first account is noticeably better than like anybody else I've been talking to,
yeah.
or my other second account. Like I got Mewtwo and the Charizard immersive card like my first day.
Yeah, I don't have any of the immersive cards other than I think the Pikachu EX, I want to say. Um, but yeah, they were pretty rough for the most part, but I think that's because I screwed up in how I did it. Because I was using a lot of those hourglasses for individual like pickups. And I've learned that if you just collect 120 hourglasses and then just do a full dump for 10 packs and open up the 10 packs at once, you actually get better pull rates than if you're doing it
You,
individually, is
you
what I
don't.
found. Oh, I found that I do. When I was doing
Well,
all the
you literally don't, because they disclose all the pull rates, and they would have to disclose that they're different if you do a 10-pack difference. It's just you feel that. It's kind of like the way
well,
people feel like you get better pulls from the backward packs or the crinkle packs. Like there's all these little fun fan theories, but like they're legally required to disclose the pull rates, and they do. And
yeah,
they
the
only
pull
explain them in
rates
one way.
Pull rates, yes. But here's the thing. When you're opening up, this is what I found. In my first account, I think I opened up like 10 or 12 packs individually. I'd click open pack, open pack. I got maybe one EX out of like 12 packs. Okay. I have now on the other account, as well as this one, I've opened up 20 packs in sets of 10 on my current set. I have pulled like 5 or 6 EX cards by doing that. So
It's
I'm
it's
getting
just
three.
random.
I dude, I don't know. I get that it's no, it's not even random. It's actually like already solidified. Like it's so a couple things on the individual packs, and this is kind of the part of that story we'll talk about here. If you are selecting a pack, it's already preset. Like once you
Yeah,
select
as
it,
soon as you hit open
yeah,
pack, it loads
it's
the cards.
yeah, it's loaded essentially at that point. The thing I'm getting across here is that if I have 10 packs that I'm opening and I do the one slice and it opens up all 10 packs, I am actually getting like I have found when I'm opening up 12 separate packs in a row, I'm only getting like one good card. When I'm opening up multiple packs in a row, I'm getting like 3 times the amount of good cards. It
It's just, I mean, it feels good, and I
it,
guess
it
I'll
does.
stop trying to convince you otherwise.
Have you done the 10 packs together?
A couple times,
Okay. I mean, I have just had
but I've
significantly
had
better
like
pulls.
outrageous luck on my one account anyways.
Yeah, I did not on my first account, and I'm so far into it, I'm like, "Man, I'm just gonna keep pulling on this and do the other account, and then we'll see what the other account yields." And then from there, once trading becomes available, I imagine when you do trading, you have to trade similar cards. Like, I can't say, "Hey, Ryan, I'll trade you this, like, Caterpie for an EX Moltres." Like, I don't think it's gonna work like that. It's probably gonna be a situation where if you have a 1-star EX card, you have to trade for a 1-star EX card. Like, I don't think
Mhm.
there's going to be anything different than that. Now, maybe they surprise us and early on they just allow anything goes, and I'd be happy with that, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's really just speculation at this time on like what trading will be like. I, I'm afraid, and I've heard other people express this, that like maybe it might be limited by playset, like the same way you can't obtain flair and go down to less than a playset. You may
Yeah.
only be able to trade excess of a playset cards, so that, and that would limit your ability to just like farm a second account and trade yourself everything that you're missing, because you would have to have at least 3 cards on your main account and then at least 3 cards of the card you want on the second account, and
Yeah.
it might be impossibly hard to get 3 of that EX that you need 1 of. So something like that could be pretty crushing, but I still think it'll make it easier that, you know, once the next set comes out or whatever, if you just create like a random second burner account, you can go through and get all those like initial beginner rewards for pulling packs and just do that for the new set too. I mean, it would give you a huge advantage. So we'll just have to see
Yeah.
what it all comes to.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious. And the first article we had here says that it takes almost 2 years to complete just the first Pokemon TCG Pocket set unless you spend money, and this is through IGN. So yeah, I mean, after playing a week, I'm at a point now where I'm like, do I want to keep playing this? And the main reason being is it fun to collect cards? Yes, it's always fun to pull cards and have fun with these digital assets that are coming out of it. But long term, it is going to be so damn impossible to gain experience. And there's only so many of these like missions and, daily tasks that
You
you
get
can do.
experience from battling too. I
You
didn't
only get
realize that until the other
yeah,
day.
yeah, only if you win, and you only get 15 points of experience. And
Yeah,
so
but
then it
like the levels are like 500 or something. So
not
between pulling packs and getting experience from that, doing wonder picks, getting experience from that, doing
Mhm.
battles, getting experience from that, like you wind
it
up getting like, it's a free to
mm,
play mobile game.
it
Like,
is. But here's the thing, at some point, it's gonna get to a point where levels are actually 2,000 points experience required.
yeah, but
So
all
we
you
do them.
get for level up is 12 hourglasses.
Yeah, exactly. So then, like, you're limited to essentially 3 hourglasses a day for the most part. So it's gonna take you 4 days to get an extra
Well,
pack
like
every time.
I'm sure that they'll come out with like more events and more things over
Yeah,
time.
and that's what I'm
And
hopeful for, is
the
more events to be able to boost up experience and get more, EX cards and things like that.
Yeah. The collecting is definitely one of those things where it like front loads you a lot to try to get you enough cards to be able to like start making decks and things. And
Yeah.
I think unfortunately a lot of that RNG holds a lot of stuff back for the game, because like on my main account, I've got a bunch of really fun decks that I've been playing, but there's also a lot of decks that you like. I don't have Gardevoirs to do like the legit like Mewtwo Gardevoir like super deck. Um I have like the Pikachu, so I can run like the main Pikachu deck, but I've been having a lot more fun playing the Cubone and Golbat deck,
Oh,
which
nice.
is kind of meant to counter both the Pikachu and Mewtwo meta decks, and it's got a lot lower entry point cards. Um I've been having fun with the Arbok and Pidgeot deck also. And my the Dragonite Weezing deck is super fun.
Nice.
But
I just have a straight fire deck right now. So
mhm.
I've got like an EX Moltres, a regular Moltres, a Charizard, um, Ninetales, and Rapidash is what I'm using.
What you really want to do if you're like going to be doing battling, you want to, the only cards that I've actually crafted are some Sabrinas, because I wasn't pulling them. and
Oh,
everybody says you basically need Sabrinas.
yeah, I got 1 or 2 Sabrinas already, and then you saw the Koga I sent you. That was a pretty badass
Yeah, I
card.
don't have any full art trainer cards on my main account. I got a full art Misty on my second, and that's the only one that I've gotten of any of those.
Yeah, and see, here's the thing. I got pretty upset when I like was opening up all the Pikachu packs, and all I got was like the one EX Pikachu, and I got 0 other EX cards out of that. Out of those like
Mhm.
10, 12, 15 packs that I pulled of Pikachu specifically. I've had better luck with the Charizard packs, and then on my other account, I've had better luck on the Mewtwo packs on the other account.
Yeah.
So
I mix it up. Like, my buddy Zach, he's been pulling like only Pikachu because he wants that immersive Pikachu EX.
yeah,
But I pulled like a bunch of different packs, just kind of like at the whim of like whatever I really feel like I would like. I like the Wonder Picks. I've been trying to fill out some slots and stuff in there. There's like so many cards that I'm missing, like from the original 150, so that I can get that Mew card. And that's the thing I just really want to get.
yeah,
He just
same
got it
here.
yesterday, but he spent like $20 on the game so far, I think.
Oh, really? He's just what does it even do for you, the extra like $10 a month? I mean, you just get to open up one extra pack, right? Every day?
Yeah, so I mean that's and it covers it in the article here. It is much better to do the premium membership. That's going to give you $10 of cost a month, but you'll get 30 extra packs for doing it. If you buy Poke Gold is a ripoff. Like it only reduces by 2 hours per bar of Poke Gold. So like you really just you can open a pack for like a little bit better rate than what you get for the hourglasses. But it's like if you spent $10 in Poke Gold, it has the exchange in here. Where is it? Let's see here. Uh Spending $9.99 on gold instead of a premium pass, you would get you just 9 packs compared to the 30 that you would get from doing the premium membership.
Hmm.
So it's total waste to buy the instant gratification.
Yeah. No, I see. I wouldn't do it for sure. You know, the Poke Gold, I think we did the math a while back and it wasn't worth it. I mean, really, none of it's worth it. Um, but I'm okay putting like $10 towards it. Just have a little fun, see where it
Yeah.
goes.
I might wait to try doing the premium membership like once the second set comes out or something later on down the road, just because it's like, traditionally the way that it works is that second set is going to be like harder for existing players to just like ignore the temptation to just keep trucking through on the free pace because there's going to be so much shiny new stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Well,
might invest then.
that's kind of why I'm like, I'll throw $10 now, only because it'll help me fill out, the current set. And then when that new one comes out with whatever new stuff, I can just focus on grabbing packs for free out of that.
Mhm.
And like you said, there might be more events. It seems like every month. I think today that Lapras event ends. So, wonder what'll be the next card from that. And I've pulled
Yeah,
as
there's
many
a
promos as I
Venusaur
could.
thing coming, I think December 6th. And then
Yeah,
the new
which
set's gonna launch in January.
yeah, so if there's a Venusaur event that's probably gonna be for like a Venusaur EX and yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right. Well, I guess that's our TCG experience on Pokemon. Um, I'd rather do this than buy a bunch of packs for Pokemon. I'm already addicted to Magic, so this is probably the best way to do it and cheaper. I will say though, comparatively with like Magic Arenas or Magic Arena and Pokemon TCG Pocket, I definitely prefer Arena. Like absolutely, Pokemon doesn't hold a candle to that, dude.
Well, and this
Um,
is like a edited version of the Pokemon game too.
yeah,
Like
like
it doesn't have any like resistance, and like the cards are kind of like simpler. You don't have energy like in your deck, you just have energy as a resource.
yeah, and I haven't played the TCG game before, like the physical. But I do know it's kind of similar to an extent. But like you said, you're supposed to be pulling energies and attaching them, and then you have your retreat costs and all that. But like, does the energy get shuffled back into your deck? I don't know any of that stuff. So, but I mean, I like it for the most part, but do wish it was like Arena, where you had a different point system to be able to get packs, and like gold and things of that nature. Like I prefer Arena and how it's set up, and it just makes me appreciate that setup for like a free game,
Mhm.
compared to Pokemon, where you almost feel like you're forced to spend that $10 a month to do anything worthwhile. Whereas if Arena, you can truly get away with not spending any money and be perfectly fine and happy with it. Right, like have one deck that you focus on, and that's what you use at all times. And then when the meta changes, you can kind of quickly adapt and edit that deck, but you're still competitive to some extent, right? And you can still have
Mhm.
fun with those battles. So, all right. So your article's next. What did you have for us?
So I got the Game Awards confirms that DLC, remakes, and remasters will be eligible for Game of the Year. Let's see. We got Jordan Midler at Video Games Chronicle. So they're going to announce the Game Awards nominees and shortlist for all its categories on Monday, tomorrow. But with this, or sorry, hold on. Yeah, yeah. And so it seems like Shadow of the Erdtree being on there is kind of controversial for some people because it is like an expansion. It's not a whole game. Although, I mean, it's
It could be
basically like a
argued.
whole game.
Yeah.
So I think I wanted to talk about something else related to the Game Awards, and then I saw this news come out today, and I was like, okay, well, I'll kind of like do both of them maybe, and I just wound up sending this one instead. But the Game Awards is coming up. Everybody's kind of excited about that in general to see, what is going to get the nominations and win big this year. But Erdtree is definitely one of those things a lot of people would have been considering to be their game of the year, but probably were middling on like, well, is it a game of the year or is it expansion of the year? And there might not be enough like expansions, remakes, and all that stuff every year to just kind of have it be its own category. So I think just kind of throwing that out the window and saying, you know what, the games, whether it's a whole new game or an expansion or not, like developers spent their time, made this like the best thing that they could. It was so well received that we wanted to put it here in the nominations, and it deserves a chance just like anything else. Like they did the same work.
Yeah, but I do think it's stupid. Um, I would definitely put DLC in its own category. I wouldn't make something like Erdtree nominated for, or have it in the category of Game of the Year. There's other games that are probably far more deserving, and this is DLC. It's off of an existing, piece of content that's out in the market, and a successful piece of that, right? So, not to knock Shadow of Erdtree in that it's not a good piece of DLC, but at the end of the day, it is still DLC. And so it really should be in a category of its own of like, as you said, best expansion pack, best expansion content, whatever it may be, and then pit it up against, other companies that have put expansion, content
The
out into the
Sims
market.
4 expansion bikini bottom version.
Exactly. Like put it up against stuff like that. And then
I guess that
that
was
in a
the
sense,
Power Wash Simulator did a SpongeBob expansion
they
actually.
did, yeah. So yeah, like put it up against the Power Wash Simulator. Like it's clearly going to win, but it's DLC. So like it's going to get its recognition. It's going to get like an award at the Game Awards, right? But it's not going to be stepping on the toes of like some great indie game that's come out and it's Erdtree, so like all that definitely has to win, right? Like I feel like that's a front runner at this point, right? Just because of what it is and the fact that it's tied to Elden Ring. If Elden Ring came out and it was garbage and they released, Erdtree a year later, would we even be having this conversation right now? Probably not. It's only because it's Elden Ring, and likely because it's a ton of hours of new content. Let's make it like it should be its own game. Okay, well, if it should have been its own game, it should have been released as its own game, not an expansion pass.
Yeah.
So that's my view on that. As far as like remakes and remasters, yeah, you're right. There's not a whole ton of them, but there's got to be at least more than one or two a year, right? Like you just need two technically for a competition.
Yeah,
So
but I mean is I don't know, I think it's
I,
fine when it
like
kinda gets
Last of Us.
recognized. I guess the categories don't matter as much to me that there are, like, wholly all brand new creations of that year that they came out. Like, I think that you should be able to get everything to kind of like fairly square up against one another.
I get it, but like Last of Us, for example, like that won awards back in the day, right? So you're basically taking an existing piece that's already won an award, right? And said, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and remaster it, or we're going to remake this particular game, and it should be game of the year, right? Like, we know how
Well, I
good
mean,
that game is.
is
It
game
got it.
of the year. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, how many of those wind up like I think that the Last of Us Part 1 remake was better received than what a lot of people anticipated it was going to be. Like, it was like kind of worthwhile upgrades that they added into to kind of bring it line with, part 2. But at the same time, like, I don't think anybody was really like, oh yeah, that was my game of the year, because it was the same story, and that same story is really good still. Like, I think most people kind of saw past that and were like, well, this is kind of like a cash grab thing, but they did a better job than we can really knock them for.
Is Game Awards, is it still um fan vote or no?
No, it's like
Because it used to be.
yeah, I don't think so. I think it's all by like committee or something.
And see, that's the thing that I don't like, right? 'Cause I thought that was the case, that it was committee. Last of Us won a long time ago, right? So now you're going to throw it into a category and have this committee vote on it. Now you're kind of throwing in financial components to it, right? Like, people could be swayed in their vote. It's going to make or
Well,
it's
this
going to
is
help make a
every
decision.
award thing.
Yeah, I get it exactly. Whereas, like, it should be a fan vote like it used to be.
I
Like,
don't
that
know.
to me
I
made the
never
most sense,
fan
right?
voted in it, so I don't care.
Oh, I did every year. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to go in and put in a vote and see where things were tallying up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
So I guess you already knew then.
well, no, I haven't. I'd spent a couple of years since I actually messed with the fan vote. That's why I was asking.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's
So
committee, it's news to me. But I figured it went down that path.
yeah, the one last thing I wanted to touch on that wasn't in here for the Game Awards, I saw this the other day and I didn't like link it or save it or anything, but it's out there somewhere. You can find it. Jeff Keighley was like making a call to people. They're trying to petition to like register the Game Awards. And I just think that that's so stupid. Like, who wants to talk about the Game Awards as like the big game presentation and show, instead of being able to say the Game Awards, like the way we can't say the Super Bowl on things? You got to say the big game.
I mean, I haven't read anything on that.
Like,
I
do you
like
think the
that.
Game Awards deserves to be like owning of the title, the Game Awards?
It's kind of in the same vein as like when New York or San Diego Comic Con was suing all these different Comic Cons over the title
Mm-hmm.
Comic Con. It's like, you do realize that's comic convention, right? Like, the
Just
con is short.
abbreviated.
So uh I mean, I think it would be okay just for like the way it's being used, right? The Game Awards, like that, sure, register it, because whatever company is going to go out there and say this is the PlayStation Game Awards. Okay, cool. Like that, if it was its own thing,
Yeah, but
I
then
would
it's got
see that
all
differently.
this like the Super Bowl stuff where you have to dance around it and you can't just talk about things. Like, it's got to be stupid because it's legal now.
I mean,
Like, that seems like a shame.
I think the Game Awards in that usage, in that context, yes, it should be okay to register. Super Bowl, like the same deal, like the Super Bowl, like it's very obvious what that is supposed to be. Like, if you're a football fan, it's the Super Bowl, right? So that would
Yeah,
make
but
sense
it's
to
stupid to
register.
go into a grocery store and see the big game when we all know it's the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but there's legal components to that, right? Because then
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is stupid.
well, it not really. They're protecting their legal identity on that. Like, if
So that nobody can advertise for them by saying the word on like a
because
public air.
Yeah, because technically, by using the term "the Super Bowl," you are utilizing the Super Bowl's image and likeness to be able to make a profit for something else.
Yeah, and I don't
So,
believe the Game Awards is like self-acknowledging enough in the world that it deserves that title so that nobody
uh,
else can say it.
I mean, it's like I said, depends on the context. So, on your Super Bowl example, if I were to say, "Hey, I'm with Pepsi," and we're going to say, this is perfect for your Super Bowl party. Well, now I'm using the Super Bowl to advertise my Pepsi products. And then you're going to have other companies trying to do it and such as well. So now you go into the store and like everything is Super Bowl, right? So I can kind of see where that comes into play to protect that image
Yeah,
and
but
likeness of
Jeff
that
Keighley's
property.
not getting Game Awards Oreos.
Maybe he is. I don't know. They have Oreos for everything nowadays.
All
Coca-Cola
right, we're
Oreos,
moving
right?
on. I'm not talking to you about marketing stuff anymore. You agree with the corporations too much.
I can't help it, dude. It just makes sense. So, but
Moving on
I know what you're
to
I know
the
what you're saying, though.
inflation deflation this week.
I love talking marketing with you. It's great. Because you know I'm not gonna agree with you on half of it. So it's BioShock this week. Let me collect myself. So BioShock, the collection on PS4 is what both of us played. Developed by 2K Boston and 2K Australia. I guess I didn't realize that when I booted up my game. Published by 2K. Surprise, surprise, they would publish their own game. Designed by Paul Hellquist. It was released in August of 2007. Not specifically the collection, but BioShock, the game itself. It is a first-person shooter. Fantastic first-person shooters. We'll get into it. Reception was a 9 to 10 out of 10. So
Yeah, a lot of perfect scores on this one. This was
now,
huge.
so for those that have never heard of BioShock, which I don't know, maybe a younger fan that hasn't, Ryan, why don't you tell them what it's about?
Yeah, so BioShock opens up with surviving a plane crash in the middle of the ocean. Our protagonist Jack finds himself in the underwater metropolis of Rapture. The city is in the throes of demise. The science and freedom has devolved into a murderous underwater cage. We follow Atlas as we fight our way through the remains of Rapture and try to find a way to escape. This is a very interesting game in history. Like, they really were like, you know what, let's take a lot of, some deeper thought things. Let's take some Ayn Rand, let's take some, uh deeper ideas, and let's throw those in there with a first person shooter that you can also shoot lightning out of your fingertips at giant mechanical robots with little girls in an underwater city. It was a
Little
very
Sisters.
interesting mix, but I love this game. Ever since this game came out, I was like sold. The marketing on this was great. The music in this game is great. The like ideas and visuals are so great that like I think this was a lot of people's kind of first foray into that like art deco kind of art style and that like classic architecture. Um this is one of those games that, when the 360 was out, we were really kind of getting, that higher quality visuals that games had always been striving for. And this was like one of those where it's like the art in the games is like appreciable as art rather than just kind of like placeholder assets that are, kind of using your imagination to get there. Like they're just fully realized in this like amazing, and the setting is so cool, like a giant underwater city that's like beyond the touches of government and capitalism and just kind of like a wild, you know, pursuant of your dreams and power and science, and very interesting.
What does the banner say when you come in? It's like there are no gods here, only men or something.
Yeah, it's no gods or kings, only man.
Yeah, that's right. So my first experience with this game was actually when it got released on PlayStation 3. I did not have an Xbox 360, and this was, as many people know, a timed exclusive. But at the time, we didn't really know it was a timed exclusive. So it was one of those periods of time, I want to say, where you had these like, it's where timed exclusives really, in my view, started being known, right? Like BioShock at the time was an exclusive. Like that's how I saw it. And I was like, man, I wish this was on PlayStation 3. And then when it was announced, I'm like, oh crap, that's really cool. And it's like, oh yeah, well, it was a timed exclusive. So I didn't know anything about it up until that point. So when it came out on PS3, I of course bought it and I enjoyed the hell out of it, dude. It was definitely one of my favorite games on the console. And to your point, as you said, the Art Deco style of the game kind of reminds me a little bit of like Fallout 3, for example. A lot of things that are in that game. I really like the controls in this game. I feel that it controls very nicely. And I would say, the story itself from when I played it way back then, I really enjoyed it and even dug into BioShock 2 shortly after until my PlayStation 3 died. So there you go. Um, let's see. So the couple things I noticed when I played it this afternoon, since we're recording here at night, is when you're getting out of the boat, or not out of the boat, out of the wreckage, and you're kind of making your way over to Rapture. Did you realize how fast you're swimming?
Mm-mm.
I was just getting a good kick out of it laughing, dude. Like if you look behind you, it's almost like you're a boat. Like that's
Oh,
how
you're just
quickly
zooming.
you're just zooming through the water. I'm like, they could have made this trudge a little more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Than what it was. But um, yeah, I don't know. I just found some like quirky stuff as I was playing, like some of the different enemies running at me and shooting. Like I was shooting bullets like not on the mark, but it was still hitting them and such. So I did find a couple of those quirks I just never really paid attention to in the
Yeah, I
past.
think
But
it's got some aim assist and some
yeah,
things like that in the game. I
yeah, but
think
ultimately, it reminded me of why I liked this game so much when I started jumping in, and I'm kind of thinking I might play all 3 of them for my New Year's or New Games resolution. I was
nice. Yeah, I
considering it
haven't
as a way of
played
playing.
all of them in a while. I played definitely the first 2 leading up to Infinite's release, and I don't think I've touched any of them since then. I might have gone back and played a little bit of BioShock actually since Infinite came out because yeah, because I got the collection on PS4, but I had Infinite on 360. I
Yeah,
bought
I've
I bought BioShock 1 like 2 or 3 times because I definitely
nice.
had it like originally on 360. I got the I always thought it was so crazy. There's a version that's BioShock and Oblivion on a disc together for the
Mhm.
360. And when that I saw that announced, I was like so pumped to get that game because I thought that Oblivion came with all the DLC and it didn't. And I was like, no. And
And of course,
then
you can't return it after the fact.
yeah,
Uh,
it's a
yeah.
sick game though. BioShock's great. The combat in there is just such a fun style. You don't really see, I feel like, in a lot of new games where you just kind of have this like run and gun, shooting lightning out of your hand, blasting guys. You just got like real quick access to like switch to different kinds of ammo. Um, it's always so fun with like the machines and stuff that you can hack, and you get like the trap mines and stuff. Like I always remember fighting big daddies and it'd be like, okay, I've got to get like I got to set up a whole like first layer of like mines for him to go through. I got to make sure I've got all my explosive and then my armor piercing rounds ready. I got to make sure that I've got like all the things hacked and the security stuff on my side, and just like try to bait a trap and just fight for your life. And there was no
And
other games really doing something like that, just kind of on a moment to moment like that.
one of the more, like, unsung heroes of this game is kind of the horror elements as well that are tied to
Mm-hmm.
it. That was something I always enjoyed too with it, especially when you
The
first get the
slices
shot.
are freaky.
Oh, when you first get the shotgun and, all the lights go out and you're just, like, firing away, like, that's always
Mm-hmm.
fun. So, but yeah, and then, I had forgotten, like, the first couple, like, Big Daddy encounters that you had, the first one being little sister coming and say, "Oh, look, it's an angel, like, his belly is glowing," or something, and then as she's walking away, says, "Oh, he's still alive. Well, he'll be an angel soon," and I'm like, "Damn." Like, that
Yeah,
just
there's some
that
dark humor in there.
yeah, that one hit, and then, of course, the other one where the thug is trying to hit the little sister and a Big Daddy comes out of nowhere and just starts slamming his head into the glass until he falls forward. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, but brass tacks sounds like you're about to go there.
Well, no, I wanted to go over one more thing. So
Oh,
this is also one of those games that has like choice in it and a lot of replayability. BioShock is definitely one of those ones that's worth revisiting, even if you haven't played in a long time. Like you can definitely get like a perk system going where you have kind of like more of a build in a direction or whatever. Like doing a wrench run is pretty cool, where you just really rely on the wrench and it just gets out of control strong by the end of the game. There's also the choice for like little sisters. Do you rescue them? do you harvest them? How that plays out for your like immediate and long-term rewards and different endings. So I think this game brought a lot to the table during that 360 era, and it was really like a big onboarder for me to kind of get into, I don't know, more things beyond just kind of like your standard game, where it kind of has a little more to think on, like the twist at the end and the leading with the would you kindly. It's all really good, well written, and a great thing to experience. So yeah, brass tacks though. Complete in box. Again, we're going over the collection on PS4. $11.99. That peaked at $39.95 back in September 2016. That's holding. A loose copy run you $10.99. That peaked at $47.17 in September 2016. That's down slightly. BioShock's like available everywhere. There's so many different prices for this. You can get just BioShock on digital console for $19.99. I think I saw the collections on there for like full price $60. Digital PC, I think it was the same $19.99 on Steam for just BioShock. The most expensive version of just BioShock you can get is the BioShock 10th anniversary for Xbox One. This comes with a sick Big Daddy statue. It's $430.15 now. And the cheapest version is the PAL Xbox 360 for a measly $3.24. And there is actually a deal I saw being advertised right now. You can get the collection on Xbox for $9.99, and that'll be good for the next 14 days from the time this episode goes up.
Interesting. Well, $11.99 for 3 games. I mean, I think deflated.
Yeah, it's definitely
right?
This is so worth it. And all the BioShock games like are really good. They're very much like different approaches to, well, so at least like with the last one, Infinite, it's just kind of like, what if BioShock but in the sky instead of underwater, and it's kind of just like a different approach to the same situation. And it's amazing how they like tie all these games together and make this series like a cohesive whole. It's very good to play through, and for $12 complete in box, easy deflated.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, so our next game that we're going to be playing for next week's episode is going to be either Red Faction on PS2 or SimCity 2000 on PS1. So kind of figure that one out at some
Figure it
point.
out.
But yeah, I'm excited about both of those because we've actually played both of your games, right? Technically.
Yeah.
So jumping into my games that I grew up with. Well, outside of that, sir, always fun. This has been episode 314 of the Game Deflators Podcast. My name's John.
I'm Ryan.
And thanks for listening.